So CBD area, closer to office, have better nightlife.
Good this PSP.
Yeah.
Cheaper house and
Prime
Singapore
location,
Tinder.
no. Exactly.
Just say.
BTO flats, right, although said to be made more affordable for people to buy, right, people nowadays are finding it harder and harder to own a BTO flat. Be it affordability or accessibility. Now waiting time is like 5 to 7 years. Affordability, BTO flats are on the rise now, okay, the price.
Not
Yeah.
as cheap as before.
Yeah. So do you feel that housing is too expensive, and do you think that the government, right, is providing a good enough support system, right, for people to buy a BTO flat?
I would say housing is expensive. As for government support, I mean, I don't know what can be different and better lah.
So for me, right, what's the alternative to BTO? Resale flat, right?
Mm.
Right, resale flat, and then the resale flat, the prices is increased because like there is so much influencing factor from the supply and demand market, right? So the government implemented BTO, and BTO is so much as compared to whatever the other alternative, right? BTO is so much cheaper lah. And on top of BTO, government is giving so much subsidies also. So I believe I would prefer having a BTO yeah. So I think the government is doing enough
Must be doing quite well. Huh?
You never say that you think housing is expensive, Okay, so what about you, Doreen? Do you think that housing is expensive?
I think it's quite similar to their thoughts.
Mm.
Because I mean, it's the same issue that I think a lot of people facing right now, especially the youngsters, like our age lah. Then I think in terms of like what the government is doing, I think they are doing whatever they can, especially to the ones that have a lower income. So I think they are doing their best to help.
Yeah, the grant actually, to be honest, is very helpful. Like I need more help, but the grants are quite helpful.
Maximum for BTO is 80,000, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, 80,000 is not a small amount, to be honest. Okay, so if you all think that housing is crazy expensive, right, and you are afraid that you might not be able to own a BTO flat in the future, okay, don't be afraid, because recently our savior just spoke up. Okay, recently there's a housing debate in the parliament, and Leong Mun Wai took up the mic.
Wait, he's our savior.
Yes! Hey, and y'all will know why, okay? Okay, because like always in the parliamentary sitting, in housing debates and all these debates, right, opposition parties will always come up and recommend some things to make certain things better. In this aspect, housing affordability and accessibility. Okay, so PSP came up with 2 schemes to reset the public housing system that the government currently have, to make it more affordable, okay, so that people can, buy a house, start a family young, retire better, all these good stuff.
So
Okay.
what are the 2 proposals?
So let's talk about the 2 schemes. So the first scheme, right, okay, is called the Affordable Home Scheme. Okay, so basically it's for buyers to pay only the user price, which is the price of construction and notional location premium, without the additional land cost that is contributing to the bulk of the price that buyers are paying for now.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot. Example, a flat at Tengah, right, costs 350,000. Okay, this price consists of land cost at 210,000 and the user price at 140,000. So you can see that actually the land cost costs more than the user price lah, and is contributing to the bulk of the price that we are paying for now. So PSP is recommending, right, through this scheme, that the buyer don't have to pay the land cost when purchasing a BTO. However, if the buyer decides to sell the flat after MOP, the buyer will then pay the land cost with interest, of course, before pocketing the profit.
Okay, so basically what PSP is saying that we are currently paying 140k upfront. So if we don't sell, we don't have to pay for the land cost.
Yeah.
So if we don't ever sell, we pay the user price only for a 99-year lease.
Wow, like a
40K
good
sounds really good,
Good price for a
Sounds really
house.
good.
The second scheme, right, okay, is a millennial apartment scheme. Simply put it, he wants to help the younger generation and the singles group lah. He said that for this scheme, it is better to take supply, which is flats lah, okay, from the CBD area, which is prime location for this scheme. Rent it out for them for cheap. So the rental lease is like maybe 2 to 5 years for them to figure things out, okay, for them to have a place to settle down, and more importantly, for them to mingle for the singles. So CBD area, closer to office, have better nightlife.
Good this PSP.
Yeah.
Cheaper house and
Prime
Singapore
location, no. Exactly. So this scheme will like try to encourage Singaporeans to concentrate in one area for them to go and mingle and hopefully get married lah.
Single-handedly increasing our fertility rate.
Yeah, they are putting one Tinder there though.
Yeah, that's why I say our savior. I feel this one we don't need to talk about that much. Let's focus on the affordable home scheme.
Oh, that one actually sounds really good.
Because not only you're not paying for the land cost, no, you're getting it cheap with capital, and then when you sell, you get the returns exactly as others that have paid previously for the land cost.
So what exactly is the downside to this scheme?
Yeah, look, sounds too good to be true. Coming
Super
from
good.
Leong Mun Wai,
But just like you mentioned, actually, the buyers don't need to pay the land money,
The land
right?
cost,
The land
yes.
cost, right? So imagine we don't pay the land cost to the government. The government will have less funds in the reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And with less fund in the reserve, right, then they will have less money to invest and therefore less returns. Whereas if let's say they have more money, they could invest and more returns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, recently actually we faced this thing because the government has used up quite a bit of money on our in our reserve, and because of that, right, they actually increased the tax from 7% to 9%. Yeah.
So that can be one potential adverse effect lah.
Yeah. So I think we all can agree that, you know, with everything is the same, right? Lower tax is better than higher tax.
Yep, I would rather have 7% GST.
Okay,
But would you rather 9% GST or 12% GST? And now is the question.
Okay, so right, if let's say right, the government is using money from the reserve, right? You use money in the reserve, so we have lesser reserve, right? I mean, like, not just the goods and service tax is going to increase, right? Like the corporate tax is going to increase also, right? They're going to charge more taxes on corporations. With the corporate tax increase, right, then lesser investment is coming in because Singapore is deemed as a tax haven, right? If it's no longer how people view Singapore as, right? Because the
They
tax
will not
prices,
come in.
they will not come in. And Singapore, right, we got no natural resources, We got no natural resources. So we do not pride ourselves, right, as like one of the leading financial hub in the world, right? Then what is Singapore? Right, we go back to fisherman.
Where? Back to the future.
So you all have shared some valid points against Man Wai's perfect scheme. Okay, so MP Indranee, right, also have something to say regarding this scheme that Man Wai have proposed. Okay, let me show you guys.
Think of a family that has several parcels of land inherited from their grandparents. One of the family members, the steward, is put in charge to manage the land on behalf of the family. Would you expect the steward to give away any one of those parcels to a developer for free and to recover only part of the land cost later? No, you would not, because that land has value. If he gives it away for free or sells it at a partial recovery price, then he's shortchanging the rest of the family. They would be deprived of the value of the land. However, if the steward sells the land for fair market value and invests the sale proceeds, the family will have the benefit of the original sale proceeds as well as the income from those proceeds. This income can then be used partially for expenditure and partially reinvested to help sustain both present and future members of the family for years to come. So everybody understands this in the context of family. But this is exactly how we do it as the Singapore family. State.
I think it's a crude analogy lah. The analogy only works if you assume everything that family faces is what Singapore faces also. And one of the things I'm not sure we will face is, she said that the money the proceeds from the land that the steward is going to get will benefit the family members. So the analogy has to be made that the money that the land cost is going to get is going to be given to all of us also lah. The analogy has to be, that point has to be proven before the analogy even stands.
Sort of that also.
You
As in like
can
GST,
make some kind of
subsidies,
link, yeah.
grants.
But
It's not
may
a
be
direct.
exactly lah, yeah.
Maybe given back to us like in a form of like let's say improving our education system, our healthcare system. That's also giving back in a sense, right?
Yes, but giving better houses is also one benefit you can have. Correct. So that's why the analogy is not perfect, but I understand what she's saying lah.
Yeah, one thing that I also don't really quite understand is that Leong Mun Wai, he mentioned the 140k, right? You're paying the house at a very discounted rate, right? And then based on MP Indranee's story, that she mentioned that the money is gonna be invested, and then this investment, right, is gonna help the future generation to come, right? What I think so. What Leong Mun Wai is saying, right? Like, you don't really need to care so much about the investment, right? Like, don't have to care about the rainy days next time. How about the people that's right now in the rain, right? In the rain without shelter, right? What are we gonna do for the people now? And that's why he implemented this scheme, right? So,
I think in theory the scheme is amazing lah.
It's amazing for us buyers.
Yeah.
We don't
From
have
the
to
citizen
pay.
perspective, it's fantastic. And if all things equal, then I think the scheme works. But then, of course, yeah, you pointed out a good point. Indranee also, with her analogy, more or less stated that there's going to be some cost involved. That cost comes in the sense of the returns that the land money can generate lah.
But the thing is, why you need to generate so much money?
So that is, to be honest, that is what Man Wai has been saying since forever.
And that is what
He's
Indranee
asking Ah
also
Kong-
has been defending.
Yeah. So it's the whole Seng and Ah Kong story again lah. If Seng is not well to do at all, following what you say, he's standing under the rain. Why do you need to buy 1 million umbrellas for Seng's kid when Seng is standing under the rain and needs one umbrella? So I understand his point. But I think we are also going back to an idea we visited some time back. The idea that Doreen talked about, the finite versus infinite games. And if we look at it from that perspective, Man Wai is looking at it from a finite game perspective. Whereas you sometimes need to factor in things that may not work perfectly in this scenario. What I mean by that is, okay, you recently went to Genting, right?
Yes.
Play at casino, right?
Yes.
Win or lose?
Lose. 600 SGD.
So you fall under the majority of people. Most people go to casino, they are supposed to lose. The game is rigged against us. We are good gamblers, but the game is rigged against us. So more often than not, we will probably lose a bit of money at the casino. And this is just how the house odds is structured. There are games that are pretty decent. Baccarat is a pretty decent game. Maybe you have like a 49% chance to win also. Pretty good already, almost equal. Roulette, maybe close to that, maybe 48 also. You play black or red lah, returns are 2, but your odds are maybe 48%.
You know what's the worst game or not? Jackpot.
Jackpot odds are shit. Horrible odds. And that is where they make a lot of money. So maybe the odds of jackpot, maybe we say is about 80%.
They make money.
House win, 80% house win. The thing about casino is this, no? Let's just assume we run the nation like a casino. You run the nation like a casino, you need to put in place safety measures. You need to put in place some fail safes. You need to put in place certain contingency plans for doomsday scenarios. Why? Because if let's say now the casino goes bust, that is it. The nation goes bust, that is it. So if let's say now a casino, right, some of the games are 49% player wins. Some of the games are 20% player wins. House odds, you average out all the games, is going to be about maybe 60-65% or so. I don't know lah, the exact amount, but let's say it's about 60-65%. People will say, why not just reduce that to about 55% enough already, right? I think a lot of the opposition MPs have suggested, why need to save up so much? Why need to have such a good rate of return? Why not slow down the rate of return and all? I think the main thing that probably is evading them is this. if now the casino house odds, instead of 65%, has been reduced to 55%, you can win most of the time, you will win in the long run. But doomsday scenario,
Everybody win on that day.
everybody win on the day,
That's it.
you might be wiped out. But if your house odds are 65%, everybody win that day also, you still survive, you still will make back. I think it's that doomsday planning, right? That is why casinos can always survive. Bar black swan events like, what recently happened and all.
Recently there's this crypto company. Also because literally like overnight, right, they plunge all the way. And because, right, one starts to withdraw, right, most of them, because of a huge news, then they start to withdraw everything. So the whole company, right, go into bankruptcy.
Yeah, so you need to have like a contingency plan for like the worst of the worst of the worst case scenario, right? I think the plan that we have right now might seem we are saving up for rainy days that may never come, but we need to plan for that, because as a nation, if you don't have that contingency for a doomsday, the doomsday come, you're gone.
Okay, so you have heard arguments from both sides today, okay? The PAP and the PSP. Who do you think have the better policies? Okay, let us know, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!